We are speaking with Mark Robinson, who has participated in our HPN clinical trial series with former NFL football players who have suffered the effects of repetitive brain trauma. Mark, can you tell us your name and NFL experience, please?
Well, I'm Mark Robinson. I played 9 years in the NFL, and I'm happy to be part of the service.
How many concussions do you estimate you've had?
Well, my wife and I argue about this all the time, between 5 and 20, but I've been completely knocked out 5 times at a minimum, and I've been dinged over 20 times where I've lost partial consciousness.
Which is significant. So what kind of symptoms were you having that motivated you to agree to participate in this study?
I had a lot of anxiety. Lying in bed at night, I'd wake up and I'd worry, and it was something that really not only hurt my sleep patterns, but also just, it wore out I was more tired throughout the day because I felt I didn't get enough rest, and, I had a number of headaches throughout the day, and to me, it made me really get over anxious, I guess is what you say, and it really was something that I wanted to address and see what it was all about.
And you were having some memory issues as well.
Yes, the memory issues. I can't tell if it's old age or I'm sure it's something, but issues of remembering things from different lengths of time. Normally within a week I was okay, but beyond that, my short-term memory, for over a week, and then I could remember things 15 years from there, but between a week and 14 years, there wasn't much continuity in what my thought process was.
Mm-hmm. I believe you also mentioned that reading had become difficult for you.
Oh, yes. That's one area I struggled with, and I have a postgraduate degree in business, and it was interesting because it was hard for me to do. My wife would tease me about why don't I read books, and tight text things would really become very confusing for me, and it kept me from wanting to read, want to gain knowledge in that area. And I was anxious to see if maybe the HPN could help me out.
Thank you. The HPN treatment involves a form of neurofeedback where we're attaching electrodes to your head, recording dominant frequency and feeding back a signal, which is an offset of that, designed to get your brain to do a reset and try to get it to return to a former level of functioning. Can you tell us what the treatment experience was like for you?
Well, it was interesting because I was really not sure. I felt it was going to work, but I wanted to give it a try because I did have some symptoms that I really wanted to see if they could be lessened or helped in some fashion. And immediately I could find that I had more energy. I remember driving home after my first treatment, and at the end of the day, and I was laughing, talking to a friend, and normally I'm the type of person who would be real serious and tired and kind of groggy. I'm more a morning person, but I felt that I was, upbeat, up-paced, and it was kind of it was kind of fun to do that. I wasn't sure that was going to happen, and that was, for me, it happened immediately, and then it started to build in different areas later on.
Good. And the treatment itself was a pleasant experience?
Yeah, it was it was a relaxing experience, and really I think it allowed me some time to get away and to do something for me. And I think that a lot of the players, a lot of times you're so team-oriented, you want to help everyone as opposed to helping yourself. And I think that it allowed me to come back and do something for Mark and help me to try to improve who I am and what I'm about. And I think it really did do just that.
Great. So now that you've completed 20 sessions of HPN treatment, what changes have you experienced?
Well, one of the biggest things for me personally was the visual processing that I was able to do. I was picking up the newspaper one day and I looked at it and said, oh my goodness, I can read again. And it was I could always read, I could always labor through reading, but it allowed me to relax and just read effortlessly. And I haven't experienced that since, the wee years of, high school or childhood where I felt it was easy to read. So, and I hadn't realized that, but when that happened, it was definite, and it's something that stays. So that was one thing that was really big for me. Also, I found that I was sleeping so much better. The anxiety started going away. I could wake up, which I still did, but I could allow myself to go back to sleep, and that allowed me to, now I'm sleeping 8 and 9 hour nights, and usually it was more like 3 and 4 hours that I was getting, and that was one of the big things. The next thing that really I could find, it was my visualization. I could see peripheral things. At first I thought it was just, well, maybe I was aware of what's around, but really I could start seeing areas outside of my spectrum. I felt my scope was real tight, and I was looking at things at such a narrow scope, and all of a sudden there was another part of the world that kind of opened up to my visual knowledge of, and these things have stayed, and that's the key thing for me. And I was a little skeptical coming in. Well, it can help a little bit. Can it really help you long term? And so far, I've been pleasantly surprised. And so those are really some of the big areas that HPN has helped me.
And I assume your wife is pleased with the results?
She said, she always says, well, you still don't push in your chair, So I mean, I said, I am who I am, but right. She has. It's funny because she'll say that. She said, you're sleeping as long as I sleep now, and that I know she's noticed and noticed that, and and you develop a frustration, I think, throughout these concussions and things that have hit, where you're almost internally in a little turmoil. And I think it's allowed me to step back and not take myself so seriously and relax a little bit. I think that it really has helped in that area.
Do you have a message for your fellow NFL brothers who have played football, have had numerous dings or concussions, and now may be experiencing some of the symptoms related to that? Well,
yes, I do. I think that be willing to do something for yourself. Like I said earlier, take the chance. Go out there, and a lot of times we're warriors, and we can handle that. It's how are you doing? Great. I'm feeling great. And if we allow ourselves to step back from that and say, hey, look, let me see if I can address some of these issues, and we haven't been able to cure everything, but if we can help and get you better sleep and try to get you being less anxious, and and allow yourself to become a better person, I think that it's a great opportunity, and that's the thing. And we've all recognized opportunities, and I think that you would really benefit from coming out and participating, because it helped me, and I'm living proof, I'll call it.
Great. Thank you very much, Mark. And anything else you'd like to add?
Well, I'd like to add that it's the very gracious offer for us ex-athletes to have the opportunity to go through the test, and again, as you go through it and you learn some of the things that become more knowledgeable, I'll say, of your situation, and then you can work in the betterment of that. And I'm thankful that I was able to be part of the study.
Great, thank you. It's been a pleasure working with you.
Thanks.
We're talking now with Mark, who is a former NFL player who agreed to participate in our HPN clinical trial series, which is treatment for players who have suffered from repetitive head trauma as a result of playing in the game. So Mark, can you tell us who you are and what your NFL experience was?
Yeah, I could. Was actually drafted in the 7th round by the Houston Oilers and played my first year there with Bum Phillips and Fred Willis, one of the founder of HPN. Got picked up by the Buccaneers in the expansion draft in '76, and went through a couple of horrid years under Coach McKay, and where we were getting concussions probably every practice and maybe twice a day. We were in 2 days during the season. Really put through what certainly the players today would not have any idea of, how much we hit. And it wasn't just on Sunday. We were pretty violent all week, and took a toll on a lot of my fellow NFL brothers. And that's not a maybe, that's a fact, that we all know. And always try to stay on top of things. I don't feel like I'm in a bad place in my life. I didn't come to HPN to solve every issue and the concussion problems in the NFL. Hopefully it can do that, or even if it just helps, then and that'd be good enough. And that's the reason I decided to participate in it. Not so much that I was in a bad spot, but if there's help out there, I want to take advantage of that. And thanks to Fred and this organization, I feel like that's happened.
Great. Can you estimate how many concussions you had?
I really couldn't, because they're so close between a stinger and, guys that, I mean, even when I cracked 2 vertebrae in my neck the year that I retired, in my 11th year in the league, and obviously I was 33 years old and it was time to retire. I kind of lost my train of thought there. What was I?
That's one of the symptoms.
What was I trying to tell you?
So,
go ahead and ask.
Yeah, let's move on. I was asking you how many concussions and so.
Oh yeah,
but,
yeah, that's right. Well, what I was going to say, there's so much. It's so hard to tell the difference. What level of concussion is it? Anytime I got a stinger and I kind of saw stars or just kind of lost, I'm not saying lose consciousness, but really maybe take a step or two towards the wrong huddle or not right back towards the huddle. If those are concussions, then I had a bunch. But really serious concussions, I mean, I'd say at least 2 or 3 really bad ones a year. I would say I average that. But a lot of stingers and a lot of in between that it's very close as, what's a concussion and how do you really determine that?
So over 10 years, you're at least 30 concussions.
I would say so. Yeah, I would say that. Yeah.
All right. Can you talk about what kind of symptoms you were having that motivated you to participate in the study?
I don't really know that was a lot of. I didn't really know that. I'm not really sure exactly how to answer that question. The way I was challenged with HPN was that it's never hurt anybody. It's been around, and I think 75,000 different people had this treatment before I did. So it wasn't something that I was afraid to do that I might get worse. I think some players might feel that way. If you're changing my brain waves in any way, could it be good or could it be bad? So, and I think that's what people weigh. And after I was assured through the staff that nobody really had a very negative reaction, I wanted to be proactive and try to venture off, because I don't have the brain. My brain doesn't think exactly the way it did. I'm 62 years old now, and through those concussions, I'm happy where I'm at, because I see some of my brothers that are in much worse shape than I am. So I'm thankful for where I am in it. So it wasn't a scary place I got to that I decided. It was more of a challenge and an opportunity to be proactive, and I'm concerned about my welfare, my health, my mental and physical health.
What was the treatment experience like for you? We did approximately 20 sessions. Started out twice a week and then cut back.
Right.
Can you talk about what it was?
It's very relaxing. It's not scary at all. I mean, it's when you see the machine and you see the probes and you think, it kind of looks really weird, but it's really not. It's not a scary thing. It's very relaxing. In my experience through the process, I'm not sure the preparation takes longer than the actual treatment does, but it's not it's not anything you would dread doing. It's not getting shots or getting, that doesn't hurt. It's very relaxing, and you don't feel any certain change just as soon as you do it. It doesn't, it's not magic. It takes time, over a period of time, for it to work, at least for me.
And since completing the treatment, what changes have you noticed? What has improved for you?
I hate to say it, but my golf game's improved the most. I don't know, it's something clicked there, and I used to be a pretty low handicap guy, and it just got away from me. And I knew it. I didn't feel like it was physical. I mean, I've got a broken wrist, non-union navicular that certainly doesn't help. I can't really load up anymore, but something about this program helped me focus. It wasn't anything physical. It was just a mental. It was a focus that I got that. I wasn't able to sustain that before this treatment. It's 4.5 hours or 4 hours out on the golf course, a long time, and everybody struggles with that. But it improved that. But I don't think it's really not aimed at golf. It was more the focus that it brought to my brain. I was doing ordinary things around the house, going and getting things for my wife, or doing this and that. Things just seemed easier for me. I seemed more motivated. more focused and, about, what's important and what are you trying to do to make things better.
Mm-hmm. Has your wife noticed a difference in you?
I do, yeah. She has said that, and really my son-in-law and some other people that, there's people that have said, I see a difference in you, yeah, for sure.
Great. Is there anything you'd like to say to your NFL brothers who maybe could benefit from this treatment? Yeah,
I would challenge them to, if you're in a deep, dark place somewhere, and it's just so scary. Guys are committing suicide and doing things that, I don't understand. And if you're in that kind of place, I think you ought to seek more help than HPN. But if you want to be proactive and if you want to start doing what's available to us right now, I think this is the finest option you have right now, at least that I know of, just to kind of get your head screwed on a little tighter and make it focus and make it maybe it functions a little better after these treatments. And like I say, I don't think it's hurt anybody, and I think it's helped a lot more people than it has. So I would just challenge them to be proactive. Don't be afraid. It's not a scary place. It doesn't hurt. Right now it's offered to you at no charge. I would challenge you to do it.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Anything else you'd like to say? Any other comments?
Not really. Just maybe thanks to Fred Willis, and we're always concerned about, it's one of the great things about being an ex-NFL player is that we're all brothers, and I don't care how far you get away. And Fred and I played in 1975 together, and we still have that bond, and we care about those people out, especially the ones out under a bridge or those guys that are in real scary places. We want to help them. Mm-hmm. I hope the concussion lawsuit does that. I hope HPN can help that, and I just want to thank Fred and really the offices that have opened up and treated us at no charge, and it's just been a blessing. I appreciate it.
All right. Thank you very much, Mark.
Okay.